Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Sable Society. It has been a long time between drinks, and I know it's been forever since I've caught up with you, and I'm really sorry about that. It's just been life has been incredibly full on. But I knew that I needed to come and get hold of you, see you, talk to you, because there is so much happening and going to be happening in the world of knitting. For those who have come here for the very first time, my name is Maree and I am the patron of the Sable Society. And of course, Sable means stash acquired beyond life expectancy. If you've got a big stash of many great things, you are amongst friends here. So welcome aboard. Today, we're going to have a video in two parts. And the part one is going to be Knit August Nights, what to expect for registrations opening here with our Napier event. Also to Knit August Nights in Bendigo, which is our very first Knit Australian Nights, actually. And that is Bendigo. It's going to be, oh gosh, a little over a month away. In fact, I think it is almost a month. This time next month, we will be in Bendigo. It is so exciting. That is just rolling along beautifully. So for all that are registered there, you'll start receiving information around that fairly soon. So I'm very excited by that. And lastly, you'll get to see what's been on my needles and what I've been up to since I caught up with you last. So let's dive straight into it. Firstly, Knit August Nights here in New Zealand. For those that have come every year, 2009 is when I started this event, so long ago. And this now, I mean, gosh, here are we now in 2026. And later, registrations have opened later than usual. A very good reason for that. I just needed to see the lay of the land, where things were heading with all the craziness offshore, but it looks like that things are all good, tickety-boo, and we are able to kick forward and run the event as normal. Everything is in place, and I can't wait to open registrations this Monday, 10 a.m. at New Zealand Standard Time. Very full schedule ahead, of course, held in East Pier in Ahuriri, where I've always held the event. And I've got, of course, our favourites back to teach a really full block of classes, and I just can't wait. This year, Lisa Craig is going to be doing our masterclass, and of course, if you don't know Lisa, she is from the Burnt Hill Yarn Company and Lisa F Designs. She's one of New Zealand's leading designer, particularly in the space of child and baby design. If you're a New Zealander, most chances are you have knitted one of Lisa's patterns at some stage across the line. She was classically trained through Feltex and then Crucci. She has just decades worth of experience, and she's an incredible teacher. Her classes are very thorough, very well thought out, very well resourced, and everybody just loves them. Her masterclass this year is going to be a finishing skills workshop. And we haven't had a full finishing skills workshop masterclass for a number of years now. And it's something that people love. They really enjoy, because at the end of the day, when you're knitting a garment, if you don't get the finishing right, it doesn't matter how beautifully you've knitted that garment along the way. If the finishing is shit, basically, the garment will just not be right. And Lisa is going to run through all those finishing skills from, casting, the cast-offs, the finishing in terms of selvages and seaming, all of those little details that will take your garment to the next level. It is a fully immersive class. It is all day on the Thursday of the 27th, and it also includes a dinner at the end. There's only 15 in the class. Everyone that has done masterclasses love them, because it allows you to really get involved and immersed in what it is that you're doing and get a handle on all of those skills. So that is the Finishing Skills Masterclass. She's also doing her Design Your Own Aran class. So if you're wanting to sort of play around with Aran patterns, and Arans are huge at the moment, all those classic styles in terms of travelling stitches, cables, bobbles, everything that make up a component of an Aran, textured stitches. She will work through the design in that and the considerations you need to make when actually designing for those textured stitches. So that's a great class. Mosaic. We haven't had a mosaic class since Charles Gandy was here, and that was Charles was here in 2017, I think it was, 27, yeah, nearly 10 years ago. So it's great. So mosaic knitting, of course, is creating colour work just by using two colours and slip stitches. And it's the most simple form of colour work, incredibly effective. I do my Harding Road series that I've done. You may have seen the Harding Road hat, and I've got the cowl, and I've done several other things using a tessellated triangular pattern. Well, that's actually mosaic slip stitching with a little bit of forward and front back wrapping. That's all that is. Super easy. It's one of those techniques that is, once you've mastered it, it just opens up so many possibilities for colour work. So she's going to do a session on mosaic. Grading and sizing. This is actually going to be a great class because this is looking at all of those things when you see a pattern, but it's written for one size and one yarn, but you want to grade it up to another, or you want to move it outside of its size range. There's so many different things here. So this is all about the nuance of grading and sizing. Again, once you grasp it, it opens up a whole new world, and you will never look at your existing patterns the same way again. Grading and sizing is huge. Once you get your head around it, it really does make a massive difference. So that's a brand new class for us this year, combined in that way. We've done sizing classes before, we've done grading classes before, but Lisa's combining them together into one entire class. And lastly, the art of colour work. Lisa's looking at this from a very practical standpoint in terms of creating very practical colour work, particularly in the light of doing simple garments. So she will cover all of the elements there in terms of the basics, what you need to consider, lights, darks, neutrals, contrasts, and all of those sorts of tonal things. So it's a full bag from Lisa. Her classes always sell out. So make sure if any of those really catch your eye that you get in and you get quick. You snap those classes up nice and fast. I also have Libby back. Libby has been incredibly supportive from Truly Myrtle. Her classes, again, she's a really professional teacher. She's been doing it for a long time. And Libby's got 3 classes that she's offering us this time. She's not doing the 4th because there's a class herself that she wants to take. So she's doing that so she can herself take a class, which she never gets to do. She's bringing actually 2 new classes and 1 revised class back this year. The first of the new classes is Sensational Shawls. Libby is known for her stunning shawl design, from small little shawlettes through to large dramatic statement pieces and everything in between. She's going to look at colour, she's going to look at shape, she's going to look at how you're able to create the shawl, what you need to consider, the yarns that you need to use, blocking and everything else to make a dramatic, incredible, beautiful shawl. She's also doing one called Top Down Basics, because a number of patterns now are done top down. People struggle still with top down, particularly if they're an old school knitter from the bottom up, but also some of those basics with top down that you need to consider for shaping, sizing, and all the rest of it. So that top down basic class is a great one, particularly if you're heading into the world of top down or in the round knitting. Great class. And her famous Knit to Fit 2.0, in fact, it should really be 3.0 because this is the 3rd time we've done it. This class is a must-do class because Libby looks at all the elements of fit. Fit is something that she has specialised in with Wardrobe Toolbox, and it's about, particularly for us women, how do we maximise the most flattering fit for our bodies. And actually, I'm wearing her oatmeal today, and this would be a great example of that because, you know, this is just, it looks like just a simple V-neck sweater, but it's so much more. A lot of consideration has been gone into how the shoulders have been done, as you can see, to give this beautiful, perfect fit. Look at that. I mean, stunning. Around the bust, it's actually, I'm not going to stand up, but there's actually subtle waist shaping in here. She will cover all those different little elements. Her famous bust darts, you definitely need to be in. If even if the girls are just moderate, those bust darts do make a difference. All of that will be in that Knit to Fit class. Again, that one is a sellout. And even if you've done it before in previous years, it's a great one to go back and revisit. So those are the classes from Libby. Who else? I've also got my dynamic duo, my creative fiber dynamic duo of Cheryl Lyle and Annette Montgomery coming back. If you're a creative fiber member, you will know these two women. They are absolute legends in the creative fiber space. Annette is coming back. I've actually convinced Annette to do something quite different this time round. She's usually done classes around her textured yarns. She's, well, you probably New Zealand's leading, if not Australasia's leading hand spun art yarn maker and producer and spinner. She's incredible. But Annette also does a lot of dyeing, and she dyes a lot of her own fibre that she uses for her yarn. And when she was at Cannes last year, just on her stand during the day, she's sitting there at a table in the trading hall with a plastic bag, bottles of dye, and she's literally dyeing yarn in the middle of the trading hall. I'd never seen anything like it. I was like, Annie, what on earth are you doing? And she's like, well, I'm dyeing yarn. She said, she's looking at me like quite puzzled. I was like, you've got to teach a class on this. This is incredible. So we're calling it dye yarn in a bag. It is probably, if you want to try out dyeing and you've been too terrified to do it, this is the class for you. Annette has broken it down. Now, there is the class fee, plus there is a little kit fee as well. She's making up a little dye starter kit for you. And you will literally be dyeing yarn in that class. You will get yarn that you will dye that you'll be able to use. You need to provide your own yarn. Look, Annette said anything will do, even if you've just got some white, a single ball of white or cream around. Superwash is preferable, but just whatever you've got rolling around, yeah, you can have some fun with this, people. It's going to be a super fun class. I'm picking it's going to sell out in an absolute nanosecond. And if you actually love that and you think, oh, this is fun, she's got a second class called To Die For, which is a little bit more theoretical. So it's taking it that next step. So from basic sort of superwash in a bag, super fast, whiz, 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 and you've got instant gratification. To Die For is taking those dyeing technique steps to the next level, the things that you need to consider, the different types of dyes that are out there, the different types of fibres, how fibre takes up dye, things that you need to understand. So if you catch the bug of dyeing your own yarn and you want to go a little bit further and beyond, the To Die For class will be absolutely perfect for you. So those are the two classes that Annette will be doing. Cheryl this year is going to embrace her love of two things, crochet and colour. She's doing a creative colour confidence class, and this class is part history, part lesson, part colour confidence, and it's more than just colour for yarn crafts, it's colour for life. And I think you'll find this class, it's slightly different to Lisa's class, and it's different to the one that Livy did in previous years. But these colour classes are fantastic, and they will have you looking at colour in a different way and challenging yourself on how you work and use colour. So that is creative colour confidence with Cheryl. She's also got a second class called It's Hip to Be Square. Our Cheryl loves a crocheted square, and we actually did a jacket class in previous years using crochet squares that was very popular, but we're actually going to do the full basic on the basic granny square and what can be done with that simple crocheted element. If you're a beginner to crochet, this is a great class tip for you. If you're someone like me who has the basic crochet skills but essentially isn't particularly adventurous but actually quite likes, getting into the rhythm of and the instant nature of basic crochet, this is a great class for you, and it can take you in a whole bunch of different directions. And it's also too, it's on Saturday afternoon. It's a really nice, gentle, soothing class for that stage of the weekend. So those are both the class options from Cheryl this year. Also, too, new class. This is the class that Libby's already is going to take. Jenny Monroe has reached out, new tutor for us at Cannes, and she is a fantastic sewer. And smocking is what we're going to be offering. You must be looking at me going, Maree, what is going on here? This is smocking, this is sewing, this is a knit conference. You know what? I've actually learned a few things. We introduced some embroidery onto your knitting, which I'm going to talk about in a moment last year. It's sold out in a nanosecond. And one of the pieces of feedback that I've had over the last few years is that most people actually do multiple forms of craft, not just knitting. They either knit or they crochet or they spin or they do stitch craft, they sew, and there are so many things that we all do. And I thought, well, there's absolutely no reason, if I've got these people with this incredible talent, that we bring in all these different ideas. And Jenny is bringing in smocking, and again, there's going to be a small charge for this class. I think it's $20 or $25, $20, I think it is. And she's making up everyone a little kit on top of your class fee. And to bring you into the absolute basics of smocking and how beautiful smocking is, the things that you can create with smocking. If you've got somebody, particularly grandchildren, granddaughters in your life, this class, or even daughters, this class is going to be for you. Some of the things that you can create are absolutely stunning. And it's all part of that slow fashion, winding things back, settling things down, and just easing in to create something really beautiful. So it's an introduction to smocking with Jenny Johnson. Sorry, not Jenny Munro, Jenny Johnson. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I think it's just going to be so good. So yeah, definitely looking out for that. I'm also getting Sue Mulrennan back. Her double knit class last year, and it's double knitting as opposed to creating a double-sided fabric, as opposed to double knitting the yarn weight, was one of the fastest classes to sell out. I think it sold out within 10 minutes last year. I had a wait list, couldn't get in. I've asked Sue to bring it back this year because so many people asked me to bring it back this year, and Sue is definitely doing that. She was a great teacher. She had excellent resourcing, and it's a brilliant technique. She learned it from the master himself, which was Nathan Taylor, and it's great that she's been able to continue that incredible skill and bring that to you again for Knit August Nights this year. And lastly, last without least, definitely not least, is our Australian tutor who is back, Catherine Trippett, my partner in crime for Knit Australia Nights from the Australian Wool Store. She did embroidery on your knitting last year, which again sold out in an absolute nanosecond. Everybody loved it. Absolutely loved it, which is when you take a knitted item and then you actually embellish it and embroider over top. It was a rave class. So we've brought that class back. So if you missed out last time, you can have another crack this time. And then she's also come up with a brand new class that she's been playing around with her class selections in Australia. She's just done some teaching with it over there with the Australian Wool Store. She sent me some images. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. It's called Whimsical Art and Embroidery, and it's where you're actually taking painting and embroidery on a calico project bag, and you will actually get the opportunity to create and finish that bag whilst you're in the class. It is amazing. It is beautiful. You don't have to have any artistic skill. It is the most, again, it's on Saturday afternoon. I think this will be the most beautiful, lovely, gentle class to finish off your Knit August Nights teaching weekend. It's just gorgeous. So we're really excited by that. And lastly, to complete the dyeing trio, she has had, for years, she's done a dyeing sock blanks class. So if you want to have a whole weekend where dyeing is your jam and all you do is all things dyeing, well, you are able to do it. I've made sure I've scheduled the 3 classes separately. So you could go dye yarn in a bag, to dye for with Annette, and then jump down to dyeing sock blanks with Catherine, and you can have a full gamut of all 3 very different dyeing techniques to create and give you a full rounded overview of how to dye yarn. So yeah, I'm really excited around that because we haven't had yarn dyeing for ages, and now I've got 3 classes in 1 year. So that is the program. It's very full. It's very intense. I think it's loads of fun. I can't wait for you guys to get stuck in and enjoy it. And then, of course, we have our traders that will be there. And we've also got our market on Sunday morning. Now, if you are a trader and you're somebody that you're thinking, oh, I'd love to come to Cannes, but I've also got stuff I'd love to sell, Uh, if you wanted to be a full weekend trader, I pulled the numbers back now. I've discovered less is more, but I do have a few spaces there. If you want to trade for the entire weekend, I've actually reduced the cost of the full weekend trading by $100 because I just want to encourage people to come and trade. If you've got a small little side business that you're doing, if you're making and doing selling your own yarn, or if you've got accessories or something fun that you think that people at Knit August Nights or the locals in Napier on Sunday would enjoy. But we still have a trading site and, make a little money on the weekend while you're here. Do a mixture of classes and trading. And you can do that. I've got angels around. I mean, things are very quiet during class time, so we can have someone keep an eye on your stall if we need to, if you want to pop up and do a class here or there. So let us know. Definitely book it, but you have the ability to be able to do that. And then, of course, all the other fun things as well. Most important thing is make sure you either on the newsletter list, which you can book, get yourself on that list on the website. Just go on the homepage and scroll down a little and you'll see the sign up there. Or just go to the website knitaugustnights.co.nz under Rego Info. You'll see the registration link will pop up and you can just click on that and away you go. Get yourself registered on Monday. It's a great weekend away. Get your friends together, come on over, have a great time, and enjoy our touch wood. We've always had a fantastic weekend all the years I've been holding the event, and that's how we do winter here in Hawke's Bay. So it should be loads of fun. So there you go. So that's what's happening with Can in Napier for New Zealand. Also, too, Bendigo, as I just mentioned before. Gosh, I can't believe it. It's a month until Bendigo. It's insane. It's going to go so fast. I just know it's going to go so fast. So Bendigo is a month away, and that's one of my jobs this weekend is just sending out newsletters for Bendigo for the Bendigo crew. It's like everything's looking great, except I'm chasing my yarn. Oh, don't get me started. Honestly, I've been on the phone to couriers for an hour. Anywho, Bendigo, can't wait. Really looking forward to it. It's the first time we've done it, and Bendigo's got a little different because it's more very class focused in Bendigo. We've got a lot of classes, but I just think I just am so excited. I really am so excited for Bendigo. I've got all the peripherals, I've got our bags, I've got everything. I need to sort of get all those made up. Oh my gosh, my luggage. I'll be literally taking my clothes in a carry-on for a week. Everything else is going to be luggage for you guys for Bendigo. But it is going to be heaps of fun. And once I get through, I've just got a couple of things to get through. I've been actually investigating doing a day trip on one of the days. So we'll just have a free day to do our own thing. And then I've got another day that I'm looking at doing a little day trip. I've reached out to a local tour company to put something together. So I'm just putting the finer tweaks on that. So there's about half of you that have indicated you're hanging around to go to the Australian Sheep and Wool Show at the end of that week. So I will watch out. I might be contacting you fairly soon in the next week or two about an option to potentially do a day tour of the surrounds of rural Victoria and look at some really cool stuff, including popping over, hopefully, to Bendigo Woolen Mills as well. I've spoken to the team over there too. So that's the plan that's unfolding at the moment. So yay, can't wait to get over to Australia. Alrighty, what have I been up to? What is on Maree's Needles? So if you've been following my social media and following me this year, you'll know that I fell down the hole of hats, as I would like to call it, which all started with my youngest son going to university. He's in Christchurch. It's cold down there. And so Mother Bear him and five of his buddies were going down there. So Mama Bear, being Mama Bear, decided she would knit him and all his little friends a hat, beanie. So what started out at knitting him and his friends a beanie turned into just essentially the world's craziest obsession. And I think I tapped out at about 25 beanies in the end. Because what ended up happening was a couple of things that ended up happening is that I also decided once the nest cleared and got empty, and I don't know if you're an empty nester, whether you've done this, I looked at my stash cupboards. I've got two huge stash cupboards, which were in the living kitchen area. And I wanted to get more food stores in, because our pantry space was limited. And I thought, I need to requisition those cupboards back and I need to sort through my stash because, I don't know what you guys are like, but stash can. I sorted through the stash that came home from Skeins. So, 18 months ago, and I've shown you that, and I sorted it all and put stuff in little project bags and what have you. But I've had the home stash. The home stash is in these two massive cupboards. And I thought, no, I need to sort them. So I did. It took me the best part of a day, five very large tubs, plastic tubs later, sorted all through, DKs with DKs, everything there. And of course, a lot of what I've got in there are multiple balls of a single thing. So they are actually projectable from whether they be accessory projects or children's garments through to full adult projects. I have to admit, I am somebody that if I find a yarn that I like, I will actually ensure that I buy enough to do an adult project if I so choose. So often I'll have it minimum, if we do it in meters, I'll have 500 to anywhere minimum to sort of 1,000, 1,500 meters of a project of yarn. So, I've got it's often clusters of a lot of one thing. And then I've got things that I love, like yarns that I do really like, and I'll have loads of that. So Gaia being my latest yarn obsession. So I've got lots of Gaia. But anyway, went through the cupboard and found lots of really quirky things that I'd picked up along the way, like art yarns, like beautiful Italian art yarns. The other thing I discovered was some homespuns. Yarn that I had I when I learnt how to spin, and I never threw any of that yarn away. I found it in a calico project bag. Yarn that literally from my very first day of spinning. And I'm just going to show you this because this yarn here, both of them, both the brown at the top and that burgundy there, these are some of the two very first yarns I ever spun, ever spun. And I turned them into a cowl. And what I did with this one here is I've actually double stranded it. And you can't really see it on the camera, but I double stranded it. I found a burgundy mohair. And by doing it on quite a tight gauge, see, isn't that incredible? When you look at the yarn, it is honestly the ugliest yarn you've ever seen in your entire life because I was the world's worst spinner. It was not great. But look at how you knit it up and that texture just turns into, it's amazing what it turns into, isn't it? And so I'm actually super proud of that because, I mean, as I said, I learned how to spin when the boys were, I hadn't even had Hugo. So Louis is now 20. So this yarn would be close to 19 years old. And I found it in the cupboard. So I made something with it because I could. And then I found even more hand spun yarn. Look at that. So then I added it to, I just found, you've probably all seen if you've ever watched any of my stuff, I've got a blue vest made with this Angora blend, which I absolutely adore. So that is there. So then that's that one. This, remember I said to you about finding really weird, crazy things? Look at that. That is an Italian fancy yarn, which I've double stranded back with a mohair. Isn't that fun? This one here, more homespun. You can only, and it's a very fine, when I spun it I actually spun it. It was about to a 4-ply. This is like when my spinning was improving. So I double stranded this back with a fine, it's a finer DK, a Stainsborough grey, and then I've just in the fine homespun. So you can see with the marling, the homespun is what gives it this sort of subtle colour change. I really like this hat. That one's lovely. And this is another one of the fancy ones. This bottom one down there is a sock yarn, a very high, actually, for those that understand text counts, a 300 bar 2 high twist text count. sock yarn, and this is gosh, it's we made it at Design Spun for a Danish company. I've had this in stash seriously since actually before I started at Design Spun. So it's been in stash for more than 20 years. I would have picked it up probably at what was the Knitters Factory shop back in the day. And I've double stranded that. And then I what did I do with this? Oh, yes. This was this fancy yarn, and then I had a navy mohair, which I double stranded it back with. So that's those. And I forgot, it's in the thing. I also, with that navy mohair, because I had from this one, I have got a lace weight Zauber ball, and I've just started another Niara, and I forgot to grab it. That's in the house. So I I thought, right, I did this, cast on that Niara, and I thought I need to get out of hats. I've been doing far too many hats. I've been doing hats for months. The hats must stop. I also have knitted that's just a selection that are here. I've given a heap away. I knitted a Harding Road Cowlin hat set for my friend's partner that she wanted for him. He's just moved out to New Zealand from the UK, and he didn't have anything warm, so I knitted him that in a possum blend that I had through just again single balls. Then, and I think I've got everything here. Then, if you've been watching before, you'll know that I promised my son that I would make him a jumper. And he was very, very specific about what he wanted. And I'm going to show you. He even gave me and sent me a photograph. Oh, is that going to? There we go. That is what he wanted. And if you follow a show called Stranger Things, you'll know that that is a character called Steve Harrington, and he wanted that jumper. And I looked and looked and looked at it, and initially I thought, oh my gosh, it's fisherman's rib, Hugo. I love you, my darling, but I don't know whether I love you that much. Because if you've ever knit fisherman's rib, you'll know what I'm talking about. But when I looked at it more closely, I realized that actually, no, it wasn't fisherman's rib. It was actually broken rib, which is good. Broken rib I can do. And so broken rib is essentially a 2x2 rib, but offset by one stitch when you come back on the repeat. I decided to go old school with this, and I've gone and left my little sketch inside again. Not very organized today. Decided to go old school with this, and I literally took measurements. I had another jumper actually done in the same broken rib, which was done to a pattern, but there were some elements in the pattern I didn't like. It was a drop shoulder. He didn't want a drop shoulder, and I thought an inset sleeve would be better. Some of the sizing was a little bit out. So anyway, we used that as a template for sizing. So I knew that I needed to go longer than the one that I had, but the width was about right. We knew we wanted to change the shoulder out and what have you. So from all of that, I was able to take some basic measurements, and then I was able to swatch. I think I've shown you the swatch on a previous episode. And then from the swatch, you swatch for those that say, oh, I don't swatch. Your swatch is your knitting computer, people. Okay, so that's your knitting baseline. It gives you all the starting points that you need to know to formulate the calculations that you need to have to actually do anything from scratch. So that's why the swatch is so important. So then I got my swatch, and then I started, and then this is the back. So there you go. So there is. Oh, the fun things was I'm doing this one on Zoom today because I couldn't get the other one working. But there you go. There you can see. Isn't that fabric fabulous? Love that fabric. That fabric is so freaking cool. Yeah, loving the fabric. So that is the fabric on that. Absolutely love it. And it is I've done the front, I've done the back, I've done one sleeve, and I'm literally halfway up the second sleeve. So depending on how things track this weekend, I will get the second sleeve definitely done. And depending on quiet time, if I do get a quiet time, I will potentially get this completed this weekend. And he is home at the end of next week, which is perfect because I can then, what I won't do is I'm not going to heavy wet block that because of the ribbing. Because, the thing is that ribbing can stretch a lot. But it depends. It depends on the amount of give that I want. And I want him to try it on unblocked because I can then, if I need to, gently damp block it or steam block it and actually be a bit more targeted and strategic about the blocking. So then if he needs more blocking through the torso, I can do more blocking there, but keep the sleeves relatively fitting and firm, which will be more flattering. Yeah, I can just play around with it. So I'm super happy with it. Super happy with it so far. Been, look, it's just 2x2 rib. So it's, this is very good TV knitting, everybody. Super good TV knitting. And I don't know about you guys. So if you're watching from this part of the world, lots of winter knitting. And I have to admit I've been, very good in front of things like Clarkson's Farm and Off Campus, two very different TV shows, but I've been enjoying both of them. So that's what I've been doing with that. Once that is completed, then I will potentially launch into another garment for me. I'm desperate. I've got more colour helix. If you bought the Sable Society colour helix yarn at Knit August Nights last year and you love it, I love it. That's what's gone missing. And I've bought all the shades. I've got new shades. I've bought all the shades, and I had planned to double strand that colour helix because 2 strands of colour helix will give you a lovely lush DK. And I'd been eyeing up a couple of patterns that I was wanting to do with that for me and for samples, but I need to get it here first. So depending on what happens, that's what I've been waiting for. But I've also got some Gaia. I've got a couple of garment lots of Gaia. I discovered in the stash, the things I discovered: a possum blend in Bentley green, British ration car Bentley green, which is beautiful. I've got 10 balls of that. So that's vestable. So I might do something with that too. I was like, whoa, completely forgot I had that. A few things that I tracked down in the hunt out. So that's where I'm probably going to head next, I think. Because they're nice, I have to admit, things like that I do quite enjoy wearing. And of course, you know me, I'll probably end up knitting another love note or a derivative thereof because I just love those easy care sweaters. And actually, Libby has got a few things out at the moment too, a few patterns that I actually really quite adore, particularly for the summer. The new t-shirt she's just put out for the summer, I do like that as well in Wardrobe Toolbox. So many things, so many things, so much knitting, so little time. Hey, look, thank you everyone for joining me today. This is a longer one and it has been too long. So I'll try not to leave it too long between drinks next time, I promise. And again, if you want to, it's still not too late actually to register for Knit Australia Nights. There are a few class spaces available, so do make sure you check those out. That's knitaustralianights.com. But I will be probably closing those off within the next 2 weeks. So if you just last minute think, stuff it, I'm going to go, jump on the website now and get your registration in. And Knit August Nights here in Napier, New Zealand, that will go on sale, as I said, Monday, 10 a.m. New Zealand Standard Time. Make sure you get on the newsletter or check the socials for the link for that. 10 a.m. All right, take care. I'm Maree here for the Sable Society. Keep knitting, keep stitching, keep laughing, and keep having a great time.